I want you guys to follow me, join me on here so we can have some fun and silly a little bit. But the main goal is to teach you about how home-based businesses can improve your financial life. So tune in.
Hey, people. I'm so sorry. I had this scheduled to go live at 12, but I was on CPT time this morning, color people time. So, but I'm here. Day number 4. I'm proud of myself. Day number 4. One more day, and I will complete it my first week. I'm going live every day for an hour. So thank y'all so much for joining me and supporting me this week. Trying to get those watch time hours in so that I can get monetized. It would be nice if all of my subbies follow me, because I got like over 4,000 subscribers. But thank you, Tanisha. She said she loved my intro. I like it, but I feel like the voiceover sound kind of muffled. I need to go back and fix that part. But yeah, thank you for the compliment. But yeah, I'm trying to get them watch hours in. So I'm late today because 92 got me off to a rough start. And this is going to be a repeat story for Tanisha and Stephanie because I already had to tell them about it this morning. We do Marco Polo. If you're familiar with Marco Polo, it's an app you can use. And it's good for like if you have a group of friends and it's not like you all gonna hear each other at the same time. It's not like that. It's more like a remember back in the day when people had the CB radio and they could talk one at a time, but then you can follow the conversation. So me, in a good time with this Tanisha and Stephanie, we have a Marco Polo that we talk to each other on every day. So for some reason, I feel like I done got conditioned that as soon as I get in my car and crank it up, I'm supposed to hit the button, just like going live on here and talk to them. So every time I get in the car headed somewhere, I'm telling them why I'm out, what I'm finna do, even if I'm just finna run to the mailbox, So they've already heard my story this morning, but I'm off track because 92 woke me up. She's having her it's called SCPA. It's some kind of choir competition. My little songbird, she loves to sing. And she's involved in choir at school. So they were having some type of competition today. And for the competition, they had to wear all black. Can't wear any casual clothes. It had to be dress pants or a dress or something like that. And hosiery is required. Now I had to realize this is a new era. Kids ain't growing up like we did, where I know when I was younger, you couldn't. Well, first of all, I started off in a primitive Baptist church. They already were pretty strict about dresses, how you dress. Cause like we couldn't come inside the church as females with pants on. You could wear them outside the church, but if you were going, let's say, just going up to the church to do rehearsal for choir rehearsal or Easter Sunday or something like that, I had to put on a dress or a skirt to go there. So I'm used to having to dress up to do stuff. Because when we went to church, I always wore, when I was a little girl, I wore the knee-high socks or the freely ruffled socks. And then when I got a little older, I started wearing pantyhose. So, and it was always either coffee stockings or off black. Every now and then, depending on what was going on, you might have a white pair. But I always had all black and I always had coffee. And back then, because my girlfriend asked me this morning, Tanisha asked me this morning, she was like, she don't have a slip. I'm like, a slip? Kids these days even know what a slip is. Yeah, I was raised on a slip. I wore a hip slip, and then we had a full slip. And some of the slips even came with the split inside, but I didn't wear any dresses with a split, so I didn't need a hip with a split. But yeah, she had a fashion faux pas this morning. I asked her yesterday when she was getting her things together because she had to have a new pair of black shoes because when she had her last choir thing, she wore her black shoes and she growing like a weed, y'all. My child would be 13 and she's already I'm 5'6". She might have me about an inch, so she's probably like 5'7". But like shoes from one school year to the next, you can cancel it. So when she got ready to sing last time, she hadn't worn her dress shoes since the previous year. And her feet was killing her. She said she was walking around all day with her toes balled up in them shoes. So we went out yesterday to get some new black dress shoes to go with the outfit. So I asked her yesterday, I said, now did you check your pantyhose? And she was like, yeah. I don't think she understood what check mean. I meant check for runs or holes or whatever. I don't know. She thought I meant check to see if they were washed or check to see if I knew where they were. But she said yeah. So then she wakes me up this morning at 4:30, 5 o'clock, in a panic because she's the type, she falls off the tree. Everything is an ordeal if it don't go perfectly. And see, my personality, I will panic too. But while I'm panicking, I'm trying to figure out what plan B I can do. She just panicked and just panicked. So she came in and woke me up. My pantyhose, I put them on and there's a hole in them and I don't have another pair and I don't know how to fix it. So I'm like, let me see them because I'm thinking maybe it's not as bad as she thinks. So honey, we put them things on. This hole was about this big. And her whole leg is about this big. So I tried turning it on the inside of the leg, but her legs are so little that you still could see it. And it wasn't just like I said, it wasn't a little hole, it was a big hole. So put the pantyhose on, tried to work with it. And the Queen Elster King, that's my mama. The Queen Elster and me could not let that child walk out the house with the pantyhose on like that. So I got on the phone, started looking to see what time Walmart opened up. And y'all got to know I love my child because I hate Walmart. I hate going to Walmart. It's always such an inconvenience. But I saw that one of the ones close to us opened at 6 a.m. And it was like at this point about 6:15. And I said, well, I'm gonna run over to Walmart and get you a pair of pantyhose. And so it was maybe Walmart for me is probably about 15 minutes with no traffic. But it was pouring down rain. And that's the other thing I can tell you about. We had tornado warning last night. It was pouring down raining. Wasn't too many cars on the road because it was 6 o'clock. So I was able to get there, park, getting in. Wasn't nobody hardly in the store. Even though I hate the self-checkout. Did the self-checkout, got in, got out, got back, put the pantyhose on. She happy. So she just texted me a few minutes ago saying that their part in the competition is over and they did good. So she's happy. So I'm just like, okay. But yeah, that was our crisis for the morning. So after I got her off school, I came back and of course went back to sleep because I wanted to not take advantage of that good sleep rain. You know, the best sleep is like when it's raining outside real hard and all you want to do is curl up under some covers and watch TV. Or if you a reader, I'm not a reader, or read or do something like that. Now, last night, one thing about living in this area, tornadoes. Tornadoes, tornadoes, tornadoes. And it used to be there was such a thing as a tornado season, but it's really not no more. We get tornado warnings around here now, warnings and watches all year long. It used to be you only had to worry about them during the spring of the year, but now, what was the competition was in Decatur. Decatur way is greater. They go to UAB to sing Monday, and that reminds me, I need to go ahead while I'm sitting here and put in my request. But I'm trying to decide. You know, my job is somewhat flexible. So what I could do is they're singing Monday in Birmingham, which is for me, it's gonna be like an hour and a half drive to get to UAB. And I think it's gonna be like an all-day thing. So I could either work Sunday and then just take Monday off and not have to use any PTO, or I could just take Monday off. Either way, I need to email my director and tell her something. So let me do that while I'm sitting here. Anyway, yeah, the competition was in Decatur. But this is Tornado Alley. True story. And I remind my family this every year. I was telling 90 people she ain't believe. I was born during a tornado. And April the 3rd, it started 1974. On April the 4th, it was still going on. So picture it. I'm Sophia. Picture it. Decatur, Alabama, 1974. My mom was 20. Was she 21? 21 years old. In the hospital, pregnant, having her first baby. She there with her mama, and I think she said my granddad was there. Because my mom wasn't married when she had me. She was still living with her parents. So they had brought her, I guess she said she had been having labor pains all day. And I decided I want to come when the weather get bad. So they've been in the car on the road, heading up to Decatur. My mom get to the hospital. Boom, tornado started coming through. Power went out in the hospital. No lights. She said nurses running around in the hospital with flashlights and stuff. And she scared to death, number one, because she had never had a baby before. And number two, she couldn't see nothing that was going on. I guess they didn't have, or I don't know if maybe they had a generator that kicked in later, but she said for the longest, they couldn't see nothing. And she said back then, the nurses would like, now this is her words. If she lived for a lie, she told us. She said, but the nurses, when you were doing too much, they might pop you. And I'm just like, she was like, yeah, that woman hit me because I wouldn't calm down and stuff. She smacked me on my butt, and I was like, they could do that. But this, honey, this is what she tell me. So I tell her all the time. I said, you don't even know if I'm yours. I could be somebody else's child. You done had me in the dark. You don't know what was going on. And I don't look nothing like her. Well, I do have two features, but my daughter looks just like my mother. I took more after my dad's side, but I tease her about that all the time. I'm like, you don't even know if I belong to you. I was born in the hospital with no lights. But it was a tornado, one of the worst tornadoes until, I think one worse than that, the one that came through in 2012, I believe, was the next worst one for our area, like North Alabama area. But one thing about tornadoes, you know, they come and they go. Now, I had to make an adjustment when I moved down to South Florida because, you know, instead of tornadoes, they're hurricanes. And I wasn't familiar with the whole hurricane vibe. With tornadoes, I know what to do. We grew up in school having tornado drills. You practiced. They would have a drill every now and then where all the kids, and I hated it because we always had to line up in the hallway, get down on our knees with your butt sticking up in the air, and put your hands over your head. And you had to stay like that for, it felt like forever. I'm sure it was only like maybe 15 minutes, but it felt like you did it forever. And it never failed. Every time we had a tornado drill, I had on some tight ass pants and I was uncomfortable because I was steady trying to make sure my pants weren't sliding down. I hated tornado drills. But we grew up dealing with those. So last night, the alarm started, which they had already, they forever saying. I get on my mom all the time because she is a firm believer in what them weather people say. I was like, Mama, I can do the weather. It's a 50% chance they right every time they come on. Because either it's going to happen or it's not. And half of the time it don't. But she still, honey, my mama calls me every day to give me a weather report. Now, the way she called, you would think I work outside doing construction or something like that. Because she called and tell me when it's going to rain. She tell me if it's supposed to snow. She give me the percentages. Because, I don't watch the news. I not even just for the weather. My mom is a firm believer in watching the news every day. Her favorite station is channel, because she don't say channel. She said channel. Channel 19. She loves her some, I forget what the weatherman's name is on there. Jerry something. But she's, ever since I was a little girl, that's the news station she watched. That's the weatherman she listened to. So Jerry Hayes. So she'll call me. I don't care where I was living. I could have been living in North Carolina. She'll call and give me a weather report. I'm just like, okay. Because she'll call and be like, now it's going to be in the 20s in the morning. I'm like, I work at home, right? I ain't walking outside. I'm not even going out the door. Now, sometimes she will call and let me know because my daughter catches the bus. So, depending on the weather, if it's super cold, but 90 people know to come and tell me when she opened that door and it's too cold for her to walk around to the bus stop, she'll be like, Mom, can you drop me off? And I get up and go drive around to where the bus picks her up. But my mama called me like I work construction. And then she'll say something to me like, it's 15 degrees outside. Make sure you put Naya on a coat. I was gonna let her leave out in a two-piece bikini in 20-degree weather. You know I'm gonna put her on a coat. But you know how parents are. I tell her all the time when we get ready to go over to my mama's house, we keep coats in the car just so we don't have to hear Queen Elsa mouth. Because as soon as you get out the car and walk in the door, the first thing out her mouth, y'all ain't got nothing on y'all arms. It's cold out there. I'm like, Mama, it's like 70 degrees. Yeah, but that wind breeze, you better put something on that baby arms. It done been times we done left the house. Now I keep a coat in the car for me. Naya might forget to put hers in there. We done got almost to the because we live in an apartment. So we have been got almost around to the front of the apartment. And I look over there, like, you didn't wear your coat. Put the car in reverse and turn around and go back. I said, I ain't trying to hear your granny mouth. Go in there and get that coat on. She be like, but Mom, it's not even cold. I said, you know your granny. Put it on. When we get in the house, take it off. Because she a firm believer that you're going to keep that baby covered up. You know how old people get when you bring them kids around, especially when they babies. I know you ain't bring that baby out here not wrapped up like that. I know you ain't bring that baby up here and she ain't got nothing covering her head. And I'm like, you gonna have my child suffocate. She gonna be to die and I be all wrapped up, sweating in that stuff. But I don't want to hear Queen Elsa mouth. So I do what she say. But yeah, you ain't gonna walk up in her house without nothing on your arms. So we come when we go over there, we be prepared because we don't want to hear. So she called me last night. No, she didn't call. She actually sent me a text last night. And she was like, we got a tornado warning. What is it doing up there? And I said, yeah, we got one. Because the alarm started going off. And it went off around 9 o'clock. And then the phone started, we ain't all this stuff. And so I looked on there and they were saying that it was a tornado warning. I think it was 9:15 at that point, and the warning was until 10:15 maybe. So, and true enough, it got bad. I mean, the thunder and the lightning was crashing and crackling and popping and stuff. And it had got the raining hard, like they was pressure washing outside. So now it was like, should we get ready to take cover? Because for us, taking cover is going in the laundry room. That's the room in the middle of the house with no windows. And I said, well, if it look like it's starting to get bad, we'll go in there. We'll go in there. But so when it got close to 10:15, it was still going. So I looked, and of course, phone goes off again and the alarm goes. So they extended it from 10:15 to 10:45. And I didn't want to go to sleep with their warning still out there. So I stayed up until about 11 to make sure we didn't get blown away. And so after that, it was just a flash flood warning. So we survived that headache last night. But yeah, when I moved down to South Florida and we was dealing with them hurricanes, I wasn't prepared for that. And this was after Katrina and all of that. Katrina and I forget which one they had. Florida had a pretty bad one down there too, leading up to before I moved down there. And when I first got there, they were talking about, down there they encourage you to get your food, your non-perishables and be ready for tornado season, because I think not tornado, hurricane season, I believe they said is from, is it June? No, I'm trying to think what month they said it was. It seems like it's from, I know it ends at the end of October, but I can't remember what month it starts, but I believe it's in the spring, like maybe March or April or something, but it's till the end of October, because one of my girlfriends and I had actually planned to go on a trip. My friend Stephanie was going to Jamaica for her birthday when I was living down there. And honey, her birthday is September the 2nd, which falls right in line with hurricane season. And it had been raining and all that stuff. So she had come down. We thinking we're going to go. We got to the airport in Fort Lauderdale, and they was like, the flight is canceled because they said Sangster Airport in Jamaica is underwater. So we was like, okay. So we didn't even get to go because of the hurricane, hurricane stuff. But we would go to work and they would have us sign up for call list and stuff. And I'm like, no, usually I put my name on there because they give you a notice. They like, we always know when the tornado comes and we get like we start preparing for it for a week. I'm like, y'all got a week and y'all still be here? So I'm going home. Because I told them, I had my mama laugh. I said, that you're gonna be hearing people talking about hurricane. They're gonna be kind of checking on me, talking about, is Lisa all right? And you're gonna be like, she right here. You want to speak to her? Because I left. I got up out of Florida. I don't know. Hurricanes, it's too much. And then tornadoes are bad. Don't get me wrong, but they're kind of hit or miss as far as the damage. But then it seems like with hurricanes, when they hit, it's a wider thing of damage, and then the damage lasts for so long with all that water and stuff. They got to be cleaned up, and they were saying they'd be without power for a couple of weeks, and all that. Just I wasn't ready for this. But it just so happened we had a couple of hurricane. Maybe it'll come through, whatever. But nothing really happened while I was there. So I was glad about this because I'm like, I don't want to deal with being out of power. And I was like, my hurricane preparedness kit was going to be, if I did get stuck, was going to be some liquor and some Ambien because I want to sleep straight through. Every time I think I'm about to wake up, let me go on back to sleep. Because, Florida hot too and no power. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. But it is what it is. So, yeah, made it through that last night, made it through the emergency this morning. And now I'm finally getting started on my work for the day. And it's Thursday, my favorite day of the week, Friday Eve. I was talking to a couple of my girlfriends yesterday, and they were giving me some suggestions on things to talk about when I come on in the morning. And I was telling them, I want to just keep it light. It's a light chit chat and conversation. Like, I don't want to have no super, super in-depth topics and stuff. But they did give me some good suggestions because this is National, what is it? Let me see. They even said Happy International Women's. So this is International Women's History Month. So next week I might start which I told them, look, y'all trying to have me doing some work. I ain't really planning on having to do no research and put no homework paper together. Just joking. But yeah, they were like I could highlight a different female in history every day. And I think that's a good idea. So I might try to find, my thing, even with Black History Month, and I went to a all black school, as I shared with y'all before. So Black History Month was every month at our school. It wasn't the stuff people just talk about during that 1 month. We heard about all the time, and that's one of the disadvantages. I know the diversity is good. I'm not saying that, but like when you go to what is Stephanie called PWI, predominantly white, you don't get. I don't think they get. I know they don't get the same experience because when Naya was coming home during February, I asked her. I said, "Are y'all doing anything in school for Black History Month?" And she was like, "Nope." I said, "They ain't got no posters up, no nothing." And she was like, "Nope." I was like, "Okay." So I told her because what I try to do for her, since she has always gone to predominantly white schools, I make sure I cover at home a lot of the stuff that she probably won't pick up in school, as far as our heritage and stuff. So over the years, I've ordered her books about Black history. I think I ordered Famous Women in Black History. She's really into science, so I ordered her famous inventors in Black history. One is just people who've done big things in math and science in Black history. And the other one is sort of like a 100 who's who of Black history. And I think it picked up like everybody from Harriet Tubman up to like Beyonce was included. So it was just sort of like an encyclopedia of famous African American in history, whatever. And I try to go over that with her. And then I was telling her for this month, because she's getting a little older now, so she don't She don't be gung ho into stuff like she used to be. But I was telling her for this month, why don't you? And I'm not making it out to be a homework assignment, but go and pick out one person from Black history that people don't hear about all the time. I said, you always hearing about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks. I'm like, go find somebody that an interesting fact about somebody that you don't normally hear about. Do the reading up on it, research it. And I said, you didn't even got to write it down. Just come and tell me about them. You know how many people I heard about. And there goes my mother. I call her back. My mom called. I guess she called to see how we made it with the hurricane. I mean, a tornado. Um, yeah, she ain't do none of them people. I kept asking her, I said, have you looked up anybody yet? And she like, I'm working on it. It's March now. She ain't look up nobody. But we have over the years, I've tried to make sure that I talk to her about it and things that's going on. And then we had a conversation Sunday where we were talking about the term Black versus African American. And I was like, honestly, I was okay with Black. They didn't have to go to African American because that's a mouthful to say. And when you could just, I thought Black suffice, but I said I think it's up to the person, however they want to be addressed. But I was okay with being a Black person. And she was like, yeah, me too. And she was telling me about some things that's going on at her school that I want to go up there and talk to the principal about because, kids are going to be kids. But some of the stuff she was telling me, they can't discipline the kids in school no more and stuff. So paddling and all of that is out. And I think them kids just pretty much do what they want because from some of the reports she be giving me, I'm like, back in my day, you would have either gotten, when you were younger, I don't know how they did y'all, but when we were little, they had them big fat pencils and they would pop your knuckles with the pencil. Then when we got up to like first, now they did that in kindergarten and first grade, and they also did having you go stand in the corner. So that was for your earlier years. Then when you got to be about second grade, they pulled that wood out and they warmed your tail up with that wood when you was showing out. They gave you warnings, but I got maybe in my whole 13 years of school, from kindergarten on up, I probably got paddled like 3 times. Because I was basically a good, quiet, stay in your place, don't make no noise kid. Because, like I was saying, we grew up in a really small town. So all somebody got to do is call your mom. And I like at these bigger schools where they don't know who you are. Everybody knew who everybody was down there. And it's not in my nature to be a type of person that shows out anyway. Now that would be my brother that's next to me. Now he probably can't even count how many paddlings he got, but he was one of them. He didn't care. I didn't want to feel the wood. But the other alternative was at that point they went from having you stand in the corner and doing the knuckles to paddling or putting you out in the hallway. Like it used to be a big deal when you got put out in the hall. And then, the hallway and then the paddling wasn't enough, you got sent to the principal. So I think I only got sent to the principal's office one time. And that was in elementary school. And I really didn't feel like I deserved to be sent to the principal's office. But our principal, even though our principal was a minister. And even though they had passed the thing where you couldn't do prayer in schools anymore, our principal was a rebel. And he was still around there having us pray. We had Bible class. He gave prizes every morning when he would do devotion. Like he would ask a Bible question. And if you knew the answer and got it right, you get a prize for that. So even though we weren't supposed to be doing anything religious at school, he still was doing it. And, the parents weren't making no big deal out of it. We weren't the ones who wanted to cut out. So I say that to say his background. He was a minister. Well, his daughter would sometimes come up and substitute teach. And I was in the 5th grade. I remember it good. There was a couple of girls in my class, and I went to the all-black school. These 2 girls happened to be white. They were my friends that were in the class. It was Elena and Mary. So they rode the bus. And they were telling me about one, I think Mary had a crush on somebody on the school bus. She was saying, you know, she wanted to write him a letter, a love letter. Now, mind you, I ain't had the first boyfriend. We ain't had cable. Everything I learned about relationships came from public TV, Happy Days, whatever Joni and Chachi and them was doing, and all that stuff. I ain't had no vast background in romance. But I done volunteered to write a love letter. And I still remember the boy name. His name was, because I called him Chris Bernell. His name was Chris Pernell. But the way she said it, we country. It sounded like she was saying Chris Bernell. So I done wrote the letter, and it was innocent enough. I was 10. I was putting stuff in there like, my heart beats fast when I see you every day, and uh uh hey, good table, how you doing this morning? I was watching you yesterday about the hot chicken thing. That story was kind of wild. Um, I had never heard of that chain, but I heard you say it was a growing chain and stuff. But that story was crazy. But yeah. So I done volunteered to write the love letter, and I didn't put on there. Uh, every time I see you, my heart beats fast, and I just want to hug you, and this and the other, little kitty stuff, nothing out there. So I done wrote the letter, and I'm passing it to the girl in class. Well, here comes Miss Graham. She picks up the letter, she reads it, and of course, she is appalled. She looking at me like I'm going straight to hell when the bell rang. And I'm like, cause she's like, so this is what y'all are doing during class? And my heart was beating like, oh Lord, because she said, I'm y'all going to the principal. And I'm thinking, you can't put me in the corner, put me outside. Where we gotta go to the principal? I'm like, kids that did worse stuff. Let's see. Yeah, it's a growing food chain called Dave's Hot Chicken. And the rapper Drake is part owner investor. Okay, I didn't hear about the Drake part. So y'all, the Hood Table does local stories. She's in Omaha, and she does a lot of local stories about injustices. That's how I found her actually, because I was watching the interview she did with the lady. I don't know if you guys remember it, a few years ago. One of the employees at this place called, what was the place called? Oriental Trade, I think was the name of the place. When she got up to go to the bathroom or something, she come back and somebody had left like a little rope shaped like a noose on her seat. So, racial discrimination. So the Hood Table was covering this story. That's how I first started listening to her. That story and the story you did when you interviewed Miss Sislo, and she was telling us about her experience dealing with so with her husband, her ex-husband and stuff. So she does stories like that kind of delves in and deals with tensions and stuff like that. So if y'all want to check her out, she is the Hood Table. Now on Friday night, she comes on and you can talk about whatever. That's usually when I get on there because we be taking shots. She every so often we'll take a shot and whatever topic you want to introduce from what's her phrase? What's your phrase, Tanya? Anything from the hood to the White House is what they talk about. So, and she said, yeah, Oriental Trading. It was a black man and his coworker put a noose on his desk. So yeah, that was I think the first story I watched over on your station. But she covers a lot of good stories. And Stephanie, yes, honey, I was doing song lyrics. My vanilla tail didn't know nothing about write no raunchy school letter. Let me see. The Hood Table said, thank you so much. Tomorrow night we are having a 5K celebration and giving out prizes. All right, y'all better go check the Hood Table. Let me put her thing up here so y'all can see. She said, and they're giving out prizes and we discussed everything from the hood to the White House. That's right. So y'all check her out for her 5K celebration tomorrow night if you're not doing nothing. Her room is very comfortable to walk in. And I even jumped, I think yours was the first channel I got on hit the link and got on and talked on the video. Usually I just type in the chat, but her channel was just that comfortable. So yeah, so in fifth grade, and I'm finna go to the principal office for the first time. I had never been to the principal's office, and I was a good student. So we go in there, honey, and he once we got in there, he pulls out the Bible. He he started reading us a scripture about whoremongers. I ain't know what no darn whoremonger was. I ain't know he was talking about hoes, you know. So he had us reading the scripture and talking about, talking to us about how, trying on a fifth grade level, how it's wrong to be doing that nasty talk and all this stuff. And honey, he said, and I'm just all I'm thinking about is you gonna call my mama or not? Am I gonna be suspended for the first time or not? That's what I was worried about. And that man said, now, which one of y'all want to pray and ask the Lord for forgiveness? So, and I'm thinking, if we do that, if we off the hook? Because if that's the case, and honey, I said, I go. I hopped down there. Now he was a white Baptist minister. He probably wasn't used to what we did over at the primitive church. But I did everything except get down on one knee on the side of that chair. Father, we are gathered here today. I just want to ask you to forgive me, Lord. I broke out one of them old school prayers. I woke up this morning. I had the right action on my limbs. I could walk. I could talk. All I knew is I don't want you to call my mama. And I don't want to be suspended. So, honey, I prayed that prayer. He said I could go back to class. And that's all I needed to hear because I'm like, shoot, I was scared to death. But yeah, Tanisha, you're right. Definitely can't do that in today's times. But yeah, he brought us back there. He pulled out the Bible. He read the scripture. He talked to us about, how the Lord wants us to treat our bodies like a temple. And I'm like, all I said was she wanted to hug him and he smelled like, I think I said, every time I get close to you, you smell like Starburst or something. I had said something corny. It was a bunch of old corny fifth grade stuff. But yeah, that was my last love letter. My career in writing love letters began and ended on that same day. And well, I can't say that because when I got in the eighth grade, it was a guy, a little boy at school. Well, we was teenagers. We were 13. And I had a crush on him, but I was one of them, like I told you, I always been kind of heavy. So the boys and stuff went into me. And when I look back on the pictures now, I wasn't really that heavy. But I was like where most of the girls was probably wearing like a size 0 or a size 2. Let's say I was in like an 8 or a 10. So, I always had like some thick thighs and a little junk in the trunk. So I wasn't one of them little thin girls. And that's what they wanted. They wanted them little skinny girls that dressed, provocatively. My parents were, they basically was like, you ain't finna be walking around here looking like nobody's home. And then they always said because I was heavy sick, I was heavier. The message was, you, and I don't think they meant it like this, but it was almost like you got to work twice as hard because you got the weight against you too. So back then, when I was in like the 8th and the 9th grade and stuff, I couldn't go get my stuff. Like by the time I got to 8th and 9th grade, I was probably like wearing a 10, maybe a 12, because I had hips and I had boobs. So, back then they ain't have the stores where you could go get the plus size clothes for the younger kids or the thicker clothes for the younger, for the thicker wear for younger kids. If you wore that size back then, you shopped in what is it, Lane Bryant, or you went to the women's side of Walmart or whatever. You didn't shop over there with the little cute stuff. So I might come to school and me and the teacher got the same darn shirt on. Because we both have been to Lane Bryant over the weekend. And I'm in the 9th grade. And everybody else wearing the little skimpy stuff. And back when I was in high school, I graduated in 92. So I was in school in the late 80s, early 90s when people were wearing cross colors and back then kids dressed like on a different world. You know, Dwayne Wayne always had on those shirts with the big loud colors and stuff in it. So yeah, they dressed like that. You know, Kwame was out. I remember when everybody was doing the polka dots and stuff. I had the regular clothes like the teacher had because they weren't making that stuff. And when they finally came out, I don't know if they had it everywhere, but here in Alabama, they started the two stores that kind of changed everything was when It's Fashion was the store that came. And it had like it did some plus size stuff. And the good part was whatever they made, not everything, but most of everything they made on the regular side, you get on the plus side. So like I could actually get the same outfits that my girlfriend was wearing in my size. The little because back then they was wearing the little pleated tennis skirts and stuff. So I was able to find it. Honey, I thought I had arrived. I could get out of Lane Bryant and I go over there, and then Cato came. And you know, Cato was catering towards the heavier side too, but in a stylish way. So I was able to go and get, dress a little better. But that didn't come along until I was in like the 12th grade. So from eighth, our high school started eighth grade. So 8th to 11th grade, I was dressing like the teacher. And everybody else wearing their little cute stuff. So of course we couldn't wear the little crop tops. But like when I would go out with my friends and stuff, they could wear the little crop top. Even if I could have fitted, Willie King wasn't let me leave his house with it on. My stomach wasn't to be out. And, he might would have did a spaghetti strap, but with these jugs right here, you weren't spaghetti strapping back then. So I would be going out with them, and they looking all cute, and I look like I'm the darn chaperone. But, it is what it was. So when I was in 8th grade, I had a crush on this guy that was in school. And so I was scared to talk to him. So I would write letters and give it to one of my best friends. And it's so dumb. He probably knew it was me because she gave him the letter. Who else gonna give him the letter but me? And it was real obvious. But anyway, and I did it in like block writing. You know how you can do the block writing so people can't tell who wrote it. I didn't want to do it in cursive or print. I just did the like blocks. And I sure enough thought I was doing something in because I was taking the words from the songs for real, Stephanie. That was back when who was out? Force MDs or Force MCs? Whoever had that song, Love is a House, and you got the key. I used that in there. I think Surface was out back then. And I had put some lyrics in there from Only You Can Make Me Happy and a couple of other songs, but of course that didn't go nowhere. I wrote about 3 letters. I never did hear nothing back. Like he didn't tell my friend, well, who is it? Yeah, I think he asked her who it was, but he didn't like try to pursue it. So I was like, oh well. So that was a bust. But yeah, I didn't I was like kind of shy, so I didn't do a whole lot as far as like getting in trouble. I think in high school, I got a paddler one time in high school, but he paddled us on the hand. The girls were paddling on the hand. And honestly, I would have rather had it on my tail because I had more coverage back there than I had in the palm of my hand. That mess hurt. So yeah, I think we were in math class, me and a couple of my friends, and we back there talking, and how the teacher be like, look now, y'all too loud. And you kind of calm down and you start up again. And she say something else. So that last time she was like, all of y'all in the house. I was like, I know we ain't finna get no paddling for talking. And yes, she did. She took us right out in the hallway and warmed us right on up. But that's how much trouble I got in high school. I basically did what I was supposed to do. So like I said, my brother, whole nother story. My brother got in trouble for now, I wrote the little poem when I was in the 5th grade. When he was in the 5th or the 6th grade, he got in trouble and before the assistant principal, his name was Coach Stedman. Coach Stedman's wife worked at the school in the office. Now, Coach Stedman's wife was one of them built like Aunt B. She had you heard Martin tell the jokes about Aunt B having the big butt. She was like that. And my brother has always been a man that loves a woman with a big behind. So he then drew a picture of Coach Day and his wife, and then got caught. And he did get suspended because it was a very suggestive picture that he drew. So he got in trouble for that. Let me see what y'all think. Okay, so the hood tape, you remember the polka dot socks, girl? They had the polka dot socks, the polka dot shirts, and it was like that real, what's that material? I don't know, it wasn't linen, that thin material. But you know, back then kids dressed up, their pants weren't hanging off their ass and nothing. They had on their, like, when we was in school, the boys wore their Levi's, and they was like fitted, and then they would have, like, you know, I think people were doing polo shirts and stuff, but it was mainly those dress shirts with the colors and stuff. And then I don't know if y'all remember the balloon pants. Like they would have like when we would go to the classic and stuff like that. A lot of the girls had on. It was, they call them balloons, but it's like the way it was made. The leg part ballooned out, and then there was a lot of shirts where part of it would be colored and the rest would be sheer. But you know, of course, they had on undershirt on. So that was the style for us back in the 90s, early 90s. Let's see. Tanisha said, Stephanie said, I was Miss Cyrano de Bergerac. Yeah, in the 5th grade, I was Miss Cyrano trying to write them letters. And I never did ask her what happened with her and Chris Panell. Let's see. Stephanie said, don't forget the Vanity Fair outlet and the Lee jeans. Girl, yeah, I had Lee jeans. I did have Lee jeans, but I didn't realize, I ain't never been one that know a lot about fashion. I thought Lee and Levi was the same thing. So yeah, I had some Lee jeans. I had Lee. I had, well, the brand for Lay Bryan was Venezia. I wore their jeans, and that was pretty much it. Like I never got Levi's or anything like that when I was in school. I think I had some Chit jeans, and that was about like the Lee. Let me see what else y'all got on here. Because I don't want to leave off the comments. Y'all got some good comments. Oh, Tanisha said, okay, so it was the Force MDs. Love is the house, and you got the key, girl. I just knew I was writing up some stuff. Okay. The hood table said, no, Tanisha said, I bet he wished he did pursue. I don't know if he wished or not, honey. He ain't hear no nothing right. Well, he doing all right. You know how you look back on people you had a crush on in high school and you be like, really? That's what I was looking at. Okay. Okay. And the hood table said, we got paddled in Christian school in junior high. But if we refused to paddle or tried to fight back, we got a week of in-house suspension where they made us read the Bible from Genesis all day, every day. That is funny. So so in-house suspension was y'all reading the Bible all day. That is a punishment. I mean, yeah, we have in-house. If you got suspended, your butt was at home. Let's see. Stephanie says similar for us, except if you refuse to get paddled, they called your parent and you were suspended for 3 days. Yeah, I don't think, to be honest, Stephanie, I don't think nobody ever refused at our school. We just everybody just kind of went along with it. Now, it may have been some, but I know, yeah, these days, all of them, they'll be ready to sue the school and everything. Tanisha, you said it was rayon, them shirts. I don't know fabric like that. It probably was. I remember the parachute pants with all them pockets and stuff. Oh, and the hammer pants. They was wearing hammer pants when I was in school. I didn't get into that fad either. Yes, yep, the hood type said hammer pants. Let's see. Stephanie said, yep, hammer. Go hammer, go. 3-5. Oh, girl, 3-5-7. You can't tell me nothing. I just knew I could do every dance 3-5-7 did. And I used to love, yeah. Oh yeah. I used to like that. And then remember they was saying what B&B Juicy got them crazy. I used to love them. Let's see. Yeah, I used to know the Bible inside and out. Every time you got in house, you had to start from Genesis and read as far as you could. Oh, out loud every day? Are you serious? So what? One person got up and took turns, or I know all y'all was sitting there reading out loud together. Ooh, that's punishment for real. I know you, so you must have been bad. You talking about you knew the Bible inside and out. Let's see, Stephanie say, I did, and my mama came and took the paddling. And I took the paddling. So did you get in trouble, Stephanie, when you got home too? Because I know if Marion Johnson came up there, it went over with that paddling in school. I know you had to get into trouble when you got home. Let's see. Oh yeah, 357. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I used to love them. And we used to watch videos and stuff in class. I remember us watching when Hammer's video first came out for which was the one where he be saying y'all was hidden in LA and y'all was hidden in Chicago and y'all was in, but what y'all gonna do in, I guess it was New York they was in, and he was like, we gonna turn this mother out. And then he came out and had on that white outfit and was and started doing the damn whoop behind it. We was in love. Helmer couldn't do nothing wrong back then. He did turn his mother out. I used to love Let's Get Started. What else was his song? And I love when he had Too Big MC with him too. That was the original. Well, I always say for my time period, Too Big MC was the original hype man. Now, for my mom and them, it was Maceo with James Brown. Maceo was the first hype man. Maceo putting that cape on him and hyping up James Brown, but after that was Too Big MC, because Too Big MC used to keep him hyped. And then I remember being in love with the guy that was with Hammer Crew that had the hair that looked like it came up like a spade. I know y'all remember which one I'm talking about. It was like stiff and crispy looking. I don't know how they got that boy hair to stay like that, but I used to be in love with him. Let me see. Tanya said, yep, the kids would take turns. Each of us would read like 2 or 3 chapters, then the next kid would read. Oh, Lord. I don't know. I might have wanted a paddling instead of this. Let me see. Luckily, she had to go to work, so I didn't get anything else I got to look. I was finna say, because I know if your mama had come there to that school, it shouldn't have ended there. So, yeah, you were lucky she had to go to work. And let me tell you, like with my folks, with my dad, my mama was the one who really did most of the whooping and stuff with us. But my daddy was the one we were scared of. So my thing with my daddy was, most kids be like, they don't want to call their mom and daddy at work because they'll be clowning. What we found out with our daddy is, he was a nurse, and most of the time he was in charge. So he was real professional when he was at work. So if you called him at work, he wasn't going to clown on you. So I go on and call him at work and tell him, look, before you get home, we was outside playing. I made a mistake and threw the ball too hard. And I broke the window in the back. And I'm willing to pay for it out of my allowance. Now, man, y'all want to give me $5 a week. I'm willing to pay for it out of my allowance, but I just wanted to go on and let you know. And that way I could breathe easy until he got home. So, yeah, I go on and call my dad and tell him whatever was going on while he at work, because he ain't going to clown on you at work. He real. Hi, this is Willie. Oh, really? Well, we'll just deal with it when I get home. Is everybody okay? That's what you got when he was at work. Now if something happened at home, what's wrong with y'all? Do y'all know how much I get out here and how hard I get out here to work? And y'all won't let us have nothing. You tell everything, get your hands on. That's what we got at home. So I would rather I'd rather talk to work Willie than getting your ass buddy that you gonna get when he at home. I learned that quick. What Tony say? Tony say it was a thick white powder shaped like a stop sign with the word with the word stop on both sides in red letters. So I always chose in-house suspension. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but that's funny. They done wrote stop. Ours was like a rectangle. a long rectangle piece of wood, and they had put, I guess they figured out it hurt more when you put holes in it. So like our panel had like 8 little holes drilled in so that air could get through. I guess they felt like they didn't get the full physics of it without the holes, so they made that little adjustment. But you done ticking me with the stop sign. Yes, honey, work really was proper. You know about that, Donald. But you call him at work and you got the sensible, I'm not gonna clown you, but you do something at home, and he got that ass, he got in your ass. Now he didn't do a lot of whooping and stuff like I said, but he didn't really have to because we was more scared of him than we was mama. But mama was the one who would actually pull out the belt or the switch or the whatever and tell your tail up. So that was our home adventures. So all right, we done made it to 55 minutes. I've completed day 4 of coming on here for an hour. Thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all's support. Please thumbs up, like, share the video. I'm trying to get my watch hours in. And I appreciate y'all coming out. So thanks for coming, Tanisha, Tanya, the Hood Table. Yeah, you have a great day too. Y'all check the Hood Table out tomorrow night for her 5K celebration. Stephanie, thanks for jumping in on the conversation. And I think it was just us. But this was a good chit chat. Y'all got the now. I just been sharing on YouTube because I don't know. I was a little gun shy about sharing on Facebook because a lot of people over there know me personally, and it's sometimes it's easier talking to strangers. But I might do it live with them too next week. But also, I may drop the link next week if anybody want to come on and talk with me. I was trying to do it by myself this week and see how I would do it so far. I'm pretty happy with everything. But y'all have a good day. I will see y'all back here tomorrow. And thanks for joining in. Bye.